just seen.
You were
Oh,
saying?
hello, bots. Uh, uh, I'm on mobile, and I sometimes have this weird issue where it just like disconnects me without saying it, and I just like it doesn't pick up my voice, and I can't hear anything.
Okay.
So
If it happens,
that,
probably DM you, right?
yeah, if I think that happened, I'll just like DM you, and then I'll just like
Yeah, no problem.
leave and then join back to waiting room or whatever.
If it makes you feel any better, I've had people have that issue before. So
Sick. Not the only one. Let's go.
you're not the only one, man. So, hey, listen, let's talk about Jack and Daxter. I really appreciate you doing this for the video. So, when did you start speedrunning Jack 1?
Oh, it was probably earlier 2014. I remember the run. So I was messing around with the game before I even knew there was a speedrunning community for it. Because I got into speedrunning, it was from GDQ, it was AGDQ 2014. Just the concept of speedrunning. That's what got me into it. And I was messing around with a bunch of games. It was like what did I want to play? I didn't really know. And then I remembered, oh yeah, Jack and Daxter, right? This game that I played a lot as a kid on the PS2. I started messing around with it. I didn't even know there was a community for it. And yeah, I mean my runs were really bad. I didn't have any strats. But it was whatever. There were like 2-hour times. It was kind of whack. I was playing up the PS3 version, which is not a good version for running the games. And then I found Bill Braid on Twitch, and I remember that's when I like learned the route and actually like started doing real runs and switched to PS2. And I remember Bill's 109.06 run from April 1st, 2014. I got the spreadsheet ready. But this run, this 109.06, it was really late at night, and Bill's time zone was ahead of me. So I just kind of, I stayed up super late, and it was a school night. And because this was the first ever sub 110, and for the time, this was nuts to watch. This was insane. It seemed like everything went right this run. I don't know, it was crazy. It was like the game that inspired me to just take this game seriously.
Right. Yeah. This is also the first one that for Green Sage they stopped restarting the console and they did the save and load. Was this one too?
Yeah, I don't think I saw that, but yeah, I guess I don't know.
Well, fuck me.
I mean, I didn't know the strats at the time. I saw this and I was like,
right.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah, well, they did the thing at the top of the Citadel where they would restart the console, and then this one I guess they found that you could just save and load the game. But that wouldn't have worked on your PS3 version anyway, so that would make sense why. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so what else do you remember, man? I mean, you just like gave me a great quote, so like, what else do you remember?
I guess I'll just like go through it. So early on, I watched a lot of I watched Bill every single night. I watched Bill's streams like kind of like religiously. Like I would just watch this dude every night just to osmose as much information as I could into my brain. Because Bill was just so much better than you. He was like a level or two above everyone else. It was kind of ridiculous. And then I also watched Prier a lot. Who was still very solidly second place. in this game. There wasn't a whole lot of like the top level wasn't super competitive back then. It was like solidly number 1 is Bill, solidly number 2 is Prier, and then like solidly number 3 is a Grig. And I watched all 3 of these guys a lot and learned from just watching all of them. But like the disparity between first, second, and third was so absurd at this point that it was like Bill just seemed untouchable. And then like the difference between Prier and Grig was still just like a level or two. Like I remember watching a race. It was Prier and Grig, and I remember Prier just stopped in Forbidden Jungle. He just stopped moving and to go he just stopped moving to go make a sandwich, and
oh no.
And then he came back after eating his sandwich. I think he won that race, but I can't remember.
Oh my god. My man made a sandwich and then ate it.
Like the disparity between the top level players was absurd. So, but yeah, I mean they're still really good in their own right and great to learn from still.
Yeah. One of the notes that I have here is that there's like a little bit later, I think it's the hang on. It's the 106-28, which was the end of 2014. It was like October 19th.
Yeah.
Excuse me. In my notes here, it says that this was the first world record that had boosteds in it, but that you'd been doing them for a while. Is that accurate?
Maybe. I don't remember. I mean, I remember doing the boosted and Misty for quite a while. Like I was doing the zoom boost method that Mega Chili did.
Okay.
I know I was doing that for. Oh yeah. Because I might have started doing that earlier actually, because I didn't like the double eco strat. Or like, no, it was the single eco strat that Bill did. Bill did this single eco strat to get that was pretty tight, to get the platform moving. And he would only get 1 eco, so you were like really on the clock to get that thing moving. And if you didn't get it moving, you were just kind of screwed. And I remember at the time I wasn't fast enough, and I was like, I either went for the double eco strat. I went for the double eco strat pretty early, which was just straight up slower. But you were given double the time, so you pretty much never missed it. And then boosteds happened. I think I picked it up pretty quickly because it was the big fast, and I wanted to stop looking like a scrub doing double eco.
Dude, you are a quote machine, my friend. This is amazing. So, can you explain? I don't know. Yeah. Can you explain, just like if there was a third person here that doesn't know anything, how boosteds work?
Yeah, so in Jack and Daxter, the ledges, when you get on a ledge, like stand on it, it'll kind of like slide you off of it. There's this weird force that's applied to all the ledges in the game. And it just kind of, it's not like you get too close to the edge and you just kind of fall off. It's like there's like some sort of force. It feels like. I'm probably going to be super incorrect, just in my interpretation of this. That is probably going to piss off Qatar or something, but whatever.
I've done plenty of that already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But there's like this little force that pushes you off the edge, and if you uppercut, if you do an uppercut out of that and you like put some momentum into it, like you do a moving, like just a walking uppercut at a certain point when you're sliding off the edge, it'll fling you really far, and you can use that to your advantage, obviously, to cross gaps that you would otherwise have no chance of crossing. And there's certain fun fact, there's actually I don't know if you've seen this, but there's very few places in the game where this works. There's only like 2 or something, where it's like 2 ledges stacked on top of each other in such a way where you can like kind of multiply the momentum together, and you can get something that's called a super boosted. And it goes freakishly far. It's completely useless, but it's cool, man.
That's amazing, dude. I love that so much. I love like little things like that, especially when they're not useful at all. It's like, oh man, this is so cool, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, like you'll lose a run and then just be like, hey man, I'm next to the super boosted spot. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, it's the thing that you do before you hit reset. It's like, you, they find Red Sage cutscene skip, and then you get your first world record, like immediately after that.
Yeah. So something I want to highlight actually is even though the community is larger now, back then in like 14, like 14, 15, there were races happening like all the time, like just Skype calls with people racing, like every second of every day almost. It was ridiculous. Like the community was so tight knit, and not to say that it isn't now, because it still is for sure. But back then, like we raced way more back then than I think we do now. And like for instance, when I met Headstrong, we both had like 113 or something, and we raced like every day for like a year. It was good. It was good for both of us because we were at like the same skill level, and we both had very similar improvement rates. So what we would do is we would talk a lot, and we would just race a lot, and we raced like most days, if I think for like a year, like or something crazy like that. And we were racing each other from like 113 down to like when like we had both had record, and like Headstrong's 104.25. That was in a race. Like so
That's
and
wild.
then there were other, like it wasn't just us, there was tons of other runners just racing each other all the time. Yeah, and then I mean at this point, this 104.27 that I got, so Red Sage skip gets found, and Headstrong and I are pretty close. Like we're probably like a minute ish skill level wise behind Bill still. But we're pretty up there, and this gets found, and I don't know, I just learned it and then just sniped this man's record out from under him real quick.
You borrowed it.
Yeah, just for a little bit, just for like 2 days before Headstrong proceeded to borrow it for another few days. And then Bill learns the skip and then beats us both by a minute.
That's the nutty part, right? Because it's like it just emphasizes like that skill gap you were talking about a little bit before. Like Bill's here and everyone else is over there.
Yeah, I mean this game is pretty much there's been 3 very dominant runners throughout its history, and Bill was definitely the first one, and he was definitely quite a bit above everyone else. Took everyone quite a while to catch up to him. And yeah, and then really I think it took until, I mean, he stopped playing by the time people caught up to him.
Yeah, when I talked to him the other day, he was like, I knew when I got the 103.29, I was more or less done. I was going to stop streaming and walk away and do other stuff. So
Yeah,
it's
I don't know.
yeah. So and then Headstrong kind of picks up the ball and she gets to work.
Yeah.
Were you like in the mix, kind of like working, and were you going for a world record at the time, or were you doing something else? What were you doing?
So around this time, around the time Bill gets 103.29, Headstrong and I caught up, and we had mid 103s also. And at one point, the three of us we were within like 5 or 10 seconds of each other. So it was like 8 seconds or something between Bill, Headstrong, and myself for first, second, third.
Yep.
So that was pretty good. Bill kind of dropped off. I kind of dropped off. I'm not entirely sure as to why. I don't know. I just kind of stopped playing, I guess. I don't know. Can't really, it's not really a sole reason why. I mean,
yeah.
Bill was probably my single biggest inspiration for playing this game. And I don't know, it might have been something with he wasn't playing anymore, or that, like, I don't know. I mean, I was still around, I was still hanging out in the community and just like, vibing with everyone. But this is when, like, after like 103, pretty well around the time pause buffer gets found, I just kind of took a step back and just kind of did my own thing for a while. And then Headstrong didn't have me or Bill holding her like next to her, so she is just kind of, I mean, at that point the three of us were pretty solidly top three, and then Headstrong just ran with it.
Yeah, off to the races.
Yeah.
When do you jump back in? Like, I know you're kind of taking a little bit of time, but when do you kind of come back into it?
So all of this, so then you have like the pause buffer, and then like sub 1. Oh, and by the way, the first ever sub 1 happened on my birthday. Thank you very much for that, Headstrong. Best birthday present ever. First ever sub hour. Let's go.
Let's go, man.
So all this happens, and then you have like 59, 58, 57, 56. I mean, I came back for like a little bit here and there just to like do a couple runs of whatever. But I wasn't like taking the game super seriously. I was just kind of hanging out in the community and like watching and just seeing where the game was going, seeing what Headstrong would do. And then get all the way to 2016.
Is it like the end of 2016, the beginning of 2017 that you make your reappearance? Is that about right?
So, well, the thing that gets me back in is a lava tube skip. Because this thing, dude, it's crazy. I will defend this. Lava tube skip is the best thing that ever happened to this game. It's like, as far as like routing goes and like all this stuff, and like we have so many categories now that are like, we have categories now that are great categories that are literally only exist and are like a unique thing because of this one skip. It opens up the game so much because the final barrier that you have to cross is just gone. So it opens up the game so much that it's just it's so cool. it's the coolest thing ever, man. So I remember I was at my summer job. Headstrong gets the first, she gets like 37 or something, just gets
Yeah,
the
the
first
first.
world record with lava tube skip. And I
Yeah.
remember I saw it. I just saw that it happened. I didn't even watch it yet. And I remember I just like stopped what I was doing at work and I just like called her on Skype off of my phone in like the middle of the woods in Minnesota to just be like, yo, congrats. Um, but
That's
yeah,
low-key amazing. There you go.
and I get back home from the summer and then it's got to learn this thing, man. Got to learn it. And then
Yeah.
watching any percent go progressively lower to like 26, 25, 24. Eventually, Headstrong gets a 24.57. And then in December, Josh gets a 24.46. This was. So I was kind of like watching almost from the sidelines while like Ouija, Josh, Piggle, Saxman, all these guys kind of just came out and did cool stuff with the game. And then Josh finally gets his any percent record. His first one in December 2016. He gets 24.46, which pretty solid, pretty rock solid at the time. And then I was actually struggling a lot. So this entire time, I had been okay. The next thing that I do is go to Agdq 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole time, from me learning the game to this point, I had been playing. I didn't know this was a big deal. I had been playing on some old on some like ratty like HD TV on a PlayStation 2, right?
Okay.
So
Okay, yeah.
and then I went to Agdq 2017, and you go in the practice room or like the casual room, I think it was, and there's CRTs everywhere. And you're like, okay, cool. I started like I was struggling because it seemed like even with Lava Walk, like even with doing Lava Walk and doing all the good strats for any percent, which I was doing in 2016, and like in like this second half of 2016, I could only get like the best I could do was like 25.40. I was like losing a minute to Headstrong and Josh. I was like, what? I couldn't see it. I was like, dude, where are they? What is this? Like, how are they beating me by so much? It was really frustrating. I go to GDQ and there's all these CRTs. I plug in my PlayStation 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm just playing, right? And then I PB by a little bit just on a random setup, and I haven't played in a few days. And I'm like, well, that run was bad. How did I PB by like 3 seconds?
It was the TV the whole time.
What it was is I didn't realize that I was playing with a ton of input delay.
Right, yeah.
Like, it felt like the scene in Naruto when
Yeah.
when Rock Lee takes off his training weights against Gaara.
Yes, yes.
And he's just zooming around at a million miles an hour.
Man, man, but Guy Sensei, I thought I was only supposed to take these off if the world was in trouble. I'm making an exception for you, Rock Lee.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then like he drops the weights. He drops the weights and the ground explodes because the weights are so heavy. It's like that. And then
Neji's like on the sidelines like, you think training weights is gonna make you any faster?
Yeah. So then
Yeah.
I remember like I was playing on the CRT like all week. And I was like, holy crap, man. And I got back home and plugged in my PS2 to my like normal like HD TV. I
Mm-hmm.
was trying to move around and I was like, no, it's like unplayable. This doesn't work. This feels horrible. And then yeah, so
Did you go on Craigslist?
I just I like got a CRT and then just started doing runs with potato cam. Like I was just pointing the webcam at my TV.
Mm-hmm.
Uh and like pretty well after like a couple days, I got like 2508 or something. And then uh another runner in the Discord was just like get world record. And I was like, well, now I'm improving. It feels like I'm just improving so fast that like, you know what? Let's go. And then like a month and a half after GDQ ended, or like even less than that, I got 2443 and beat Josh's run.
That's so insane to me. That's so insane. It was like you had all that input delay. That's so crazy.
It
Was it
was like
someone told? Good.
it was like so unfathomable to me. Like there were other runners told me that like, dude, you need to be playing on a CRT. What are you doing? And then like Pickle would tell me this. I was just like, man, there's no way it makes a difference. And then like now I'm one of the people, like if I see someone playing on an HD TV, I start yelling at them, dude. I'm like, what are you doing?
You don't
I mean, of
know
course,
what you're doing.
yeah, you don't know what. I don't know, man. It's like the difference was it was night and day. It was like I was it was just so the game just felt so much more fluid and I just felt so much faster. And it was so much easier to improve and find time save. And it was almost like time save would just magically appear. It was wild.
Yeah. Now, I feel bad because that's a great story. And this is your second world record reign, and you are a 2-time champion with a combined reign of 3 days.
Yeah, I mean that's whatever. I mean that's just
I
how it
want you
goes,
to
I
have
guess.
your moment, and we're gonna get there, right? Because you have your moment for a whole length of time. So then Josh takes it back. That's how it goes. Headstrong ties that record twice.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And then Josh gets like a 24-34 in September of 2017. And
Yep.
then you come back. You have the 24-30. So what's going on there?
So I got 2443 and I did what I wanted to do, which was I wanted to get the any percent record back. I wanted to like kind of because I felt like throughout all this time people were just beating me but looking back, like they're just beating me because input delay. Like, come on, like, and then like what? It's kind of sucks. And then so after I started playing on CRT, I was just like, man, I just want to prove to myself that I can just get world record again. Like I want to prove that I'm still good. And then a year goes by, and then I just kind of after I did what I want to do, after I did what I wanted to, I just kind of went back to doing my own thing and just hanging out. And then GDQ 2018 gives me more motivation. GDQ just does that. It just has that quality, I think. Just giving people tons of speedrun motivation. Just being there, especially being there. But also watching it. So I get 24-30, and then Josh ties me a month later. And we just kind of let it sit. I don't think either of us really wanted to do this yet. And then we get to October, and yeah, it's time to go.
So Ricky has said this is like the best rivalry in speedrun history.
I don't know
And
about
then-
that.
I don't
but
listen. Ricky, a man of big praise. Josh said he's like, "Oh hey, we agree, like this is where we're gonna keep it." And then Jazz said, "All right, I'm gonna go back to it now." And then he goes, "Then I guess I have to go back to it too."
Yep, basically. That's exactly what happened.
Man, that's so crazy. It's like it's 1 second a piece, right? It's 24-29, and then the 28, and then you get 27 and 25, and then he gets 24-24, and then it gets away from you a little bit, but he gets down to 24-07, which is insane.
So
And good.
this rivalry, I don't necessarily like yeah, I was obviously like key part in this, but this is like the moment. I think this is really where Josh comes into his own, because I mean Josh is like at this point is like pretty sure at this point, yeah, he's like undisputed king of the game. Basically barring any percent, which is like kind of me and him at the same time.
Mhm.
And then, well, and all flies, I think. I think all flies I might have had, but other
The
than
coveted
that,
all flies record.
it's a sick category, dog. Bug gang for life.
I'll drink to that.
Hell yeah. So basically, what happens now? Yeah, so this was hilarious. 24-30, 24-29, 28-27. This is pretty good. So we have this back, right?
Mhm.
And so we're talking on Discord this entire time. We're like just DMing each other back and forth. We're like, hey, sub 24-20 is like the goal, right? Like that's what we want. Like that'd be pretty cool to get. But
Yep.
sub 24-10 would be like it's possible, and it's like insane. Like if someone gets that, that's it. Like no one's gonna beat that. Like that's just kind of over if someone gets that. And we go back and forth. And then he pulls away, gets 24-18, and then on the 25th. So it's the night of the 24th. Let's preface this. It's the night of the 24th, and Josh is messaging me like having like a meltdown or something, man. He's like, he is about to give up. Just like he's about to just give up on this category because grinding it has been like otherworldly brutal on him. And myself too. This was a pretty ridiculous category. And he was about to give up. And if you think of Josh now, you don't like. That's not something that would even occur to you that he would even think about doing.
Mhm.
is giving up on a run, like giving up on a category. But he persisted. I was like, man, like don't do anything ridiculous. like keep yourself good, man. Like if you need to break, then break. Like don't hurt, like destroy yourself or anything by just running this thing into the ground and just bashing your head against a wall forever.
Right.
And the next day he gets this run of this 2407, which if you actually, so this is the point where I think Josh kind of like almost becomes himself. Is like this run means so much more than just this ridiculous time in this category. What this run means is because this was the most optimized category. This had myself, Josh, Mike, and Chim all working on it like around the clock, finding tiny optimizations and like just doing an absurd amount of runs. And if you look at Josh's Twitch right now, let me go to it. He says that his favorite run ever, and his top runs, says Jack and Daxter any percent 2407. My favorite run of all time, destroys everything else by a long shot. And there's a reason for that. Even though like his runs now, like years later, his runs now, like he's just objectively better at the game than he was back then, like straight up.
Yeah.
And his runs now are just objectively better than they were back then. But the reason this run, I think, is so important to him is this is when he realized that he could beat anyone and like overcome any challenge in front of him. The VOD, like if you watch the run, like when the like final cutscene and credits is happening, he's looking at the run and he's saying like, this is actually real. This is in front of me right now. Like 24-0, well, his split said 08, but like 24-08 is right in front of me. Like how is this even real? That's what that run meant. And that's what that run meant. And that's when Josh he broke through the barrier and went he went Super Saiyan, dude.
He went full Outrag Awakens.
He did. The Outrag awakened with that run, because if you look at his history after that run, the next month, like just the next little over a month, after this run, he got 55 in no LTS, which was the first ever 55. He got, then immediately after, like 5 days or so, he got the first ever 103 in Orbliss. And then he brought Hundo down to like he almost got 135 in Hundo. And these were all records. And he had beaten, like in Hundo, for instance, he beat his 136.44, which stood for 15 months before he beat it. Like that run was good.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is when he like seriously like transformed after this run. is very defining for him.
Right.
And then, yeah, I'll let you talk now instead of.
Hey, listen, that was really great, and while you were going through all of it, I was like, man, I really need to think of ways to use this quote because it's really great. So I appreciate that. I have been scribbling down places to put it, so I'm hyped for it. So then they find Fire Canyon Skip, and then I think it was Headstrong gave me a great like anecdote about this. When Lava Tube Skip V1 was found, the one with all the blind ledge grabs, and then the Scout Fly boosted uppercut, and then the roll jump into the archway, like the super not even remotely possible. People would
the stupid one.
Yeah, people would go to her and be like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna grind for it, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna get it in a run." And she would say, "All right, go ahead. Good luck. Not happening, right?
Yep.
And knock yourself out." And then someone gave me a similar anecdote. It was like, "Oh yeah, but Fire Canyon Skip's not gonna happen like in a run. Like Bobby finds it. It's like, yeah, well, okay, no one's gonna do it in a run." And Luigi's like, "I'm gonna do it." And then he does it, right? So it's like the sort of like coming like road to Damascus moment on that one. Talk to me about Fire Canyon Skip, because the other part of this story that I love is they said for the rest of that, for Agdq 2019, if you wanted to find Jazz, you went to the casual room because that's where he was. He was playing Jack.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So first I want to note about Luigi. Luigi had been running, he had been in the community for a little while, and the category that he started with was any percent, which at the time we strongly advised that people did not do that, because Lava Tube Skip is going to, like, you're going to be better at it and you're going to learn it faster if you already have a very strong grasp of the fundamentals of the game. That's just kind of how the skip is.
Yeah.
And we would strongly advise against running any percent first. We would be like, no, do no LTS or 100%. Those are the two best ones to start with. And Luigi said, no, I'm going to do any percent. And for a little while, like, I mean, he did it. He did it, and props to him for doing that. I mean, his movement wasn't pretty, and it wasn't pretty for a while, but my man stuck it through, and he did any percent, and he did Lava Tube Skip, and he did pretty well. And he was also the person who said, no, I'm going to do Fire Canyon Skip in a run, and you guys are going to watch me do it. And he did a lot for the setups of certain parts of FCS. Yeah, he's the kind of person that he'll just do things that other people say is like, no, you shouldn't do that, or like that's like not the recommended path, or like that's too hard to do, or something like that. I think we're really like lucky to have someone like him around, because he'll do that shit. So then we saw Luigi's run. We were at JQ. Yeah, it was the 7th January.
There's that great video of everybody in the room watching it on their phones.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay. Because the way Josh and I were looking at Fire Canyon Skip at the time was like we saw that it was a thing, right? And we both looked at each other. I think we did this in person. We both looked at each other and said, "We're not doing this." like we're just gentlemaning right now. Like we're just no. And then Luigi told us what for, and good on him. And then I spent the rest of the week. I don't know how long I spent practicing, and this was not pretty. This was I spent, oh my god, I don't even want to think about how many hours I spent just bouncing in Fire Canyon in the GDQ practice room, or like casual room or wherever.
Mm-hmm.
It was to the point where I was like, Headstrong would be like, "Yo, Jazz, we're gonna go eat," and I'd be like, "No, I'm staying here." Like, and yeah, that's the point where it was like an obsession for like 8 days, where I would wake up, I would like eat, sleep. I really wouldn't eat that much. It was more of like sleep and do this and learn it. And it was really helpful being in a GDQ setting, because then I could pull the other runners into like to look at something, and it was so easy, you know, just like having another runner next to you, so you can just literally point at the screen and sit and like be like, this is what I'm talking about right here. Like this is what I'm looking at. It's much easier that way than having to like go into MS Paint, like like send pictures to each other.
I've seen lots of pictures from MS Paint, so I hear you. I've seen lots of Jack and Daxter diagrams done in Paint in preparation of this project.
Oh yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, you got your 1932, and that's like the last time that anybody stood up to Josh. It kind of like Josh kind of ran away with it. I mean, there's people now, well, sort of. I think Stellar is just got a 16 the other day.
Yeah, so I wanted to, like, at the, yeah, I got home from Agdq.
Yeah.
It was like, what, like 2 days or something. I got 1932, and I remember I was thinking about going for Lava Walk that run. I was like, no, don't be an idiot. Just finish it. Just get a sub 20 and finish it. And the run was not good, but I got the skip, and that's what mattered, I guess.
You did it, man, you know?
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, first sub 20, yeehaw.
You're like the only person, and I say this in like a positive way, you're like the only person to have like the world record in like 2 very different periods of time.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just the right place in the right time. I mean, you came back to it because you liked it, so.
Game's fun, dude.
Yeah. I've never played it.
It's pretty hit or miss as a casual game. I gotta say.
Yeah, I played 2 and 3 because that's what was given to me. That's what I was bought when I was a kid, and I had a lot of fun with those. I know those games a lot better, but they're also like very different games.
So. Yeah. Jack is it's pretty. I think it's a pretty good speed game overall, because it's super easy to pick up. It's super easy to pick up and just play and do runs of. The game just feels so, at least to me, it feels so nice. I feel like I'm spoiled with playing other platformers. Not to say that other 3D platformers are bad or anything, But
Some of them are pretty fucking awful.
yeah, fair. But they, I feel like I'm spoiled by Jack 1's movement. It's just so buttery and smooth. It's so good. But then after this, so after I get my 1932, Josh just kind of, I did that thing where I just kind of go hang out and do my own thing for a long time again.
Yeah.
And then Josh just kind of runs away with it. And
yeah. Crazy.
gets all the way down to 1635 as of now.
Yeah. I think he did that like in June.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I guess what do you think is like the next thing? Like where do we go from here, right? Like who could be the next like big champion to like lead another movement, and what else can you do? I mean, like what else do you think will get found? Do you think like Geyser Rock? Maybe you guys will find a skip for that. Maybe you'll swim back to Sandover Beach. Roser said maybe you can like corrupt the value of the teleporter. I saw somebody get yeeted off a fucking bridge. Like, what do you think?
I don't think Geyser Skip's gonna happen. Like, I mean, if it does, then that's crazy. But I mean, I don't know any way how that would even conceivably work. Maybe the nerds will tell you otherwise, and they're probably right. But then you got Bridge Blast, which only seems to work on emulator and like Mike Game Pro's PS2 for some reason. I don't know. Nobody knows actually. And we don't even know if we can even hit those triggers because apparently the triggers for like Citadel and whatever are out there, but I don't even know if they're active, like, or you might have to hit like multiple of them in a row, or I don't know, some nonsense. I've heard very little about like warping from Bridge Blast to like the end of the game or whatever. I don't know exactly. I don't know. I don't know about that. Nobody can get it to work on except for like literally one console. Other than that, it's emulator exclusive. So unless we figure out a way to get it to work for everyone, I would imagine if it did work on like that one console where you could just warp to the end, we'd probably just ban it. Unless we could figure out some way to make it so you could compete. But as far as new runners go, so we got a few of these guys who are coming up, and they're really good. And they are Aslov is really good. Prince Vortex is really good. And then we have this guy, this other guy who is, if anyone is going to take on Josh. I mean, I've been playing any percent again for this past few days. So I might snag the world record back from Josh potentially. I mean, I'm not really like grinding a lot. I'm just kind of vibing and playing around. Fire Canyon Sip's kind of fun. It's kind of a vibe.
I imagine it's fun in small doses.
Yeah, you just kind of bouncy castle around. It's pretty chill.
Mm-hmm.
And once I start getting like frustrated, I just turn the console off and go do something else. But like, yeah, it's pretty chill. Very, very hard. But you got Stellar, who Yeah, there's this guy called the Stellar, and he's really freaking good at this game. He's only been playing for 1 year, and he is very good. He's been improving very, very fast. And I mean, I think right now, Josh is so far ahead of anyone. I think it's going to take a while for people to catch up to him. Maybe not in any percent, but definitely the other longer categories, it's going to take people a long time to catch him. Especially in like 100% or like no LTS. Like, dude, those categories are, his times in those two are really good. Like, freakishly good. So I think he's like solidly, it's like, yeah, I mean, the only other person who swept the leaderboards was Bill, and there were a lot less categories back then. Stellar is fantastic. He's doing any percent right now. He got the second ever 16. He got a 16:59, and he has a lot of time saved in that run, and he knows it. And yeah, that's what he's working on. He's definitely someone to keep an eye on for sure. And then, I had a thought, but it escaped me. Oh no, now it's back. So something about this rivalry between me and Josh in 2018.
Yeah.
So
Right.
when I try to be like this is my favorite route ever. Like that this game has ever had was this 2407 route.
Mm-hmm.
This is I think this is the best any percent route that this game has ever seen, and nothing else even comes close. And I really, really cared about it, and I was gonna fight for having the record in it because I really cared about it. Like, a lot. I would spend so many hours playing it every day. Like, I'm talking like 10 plus hours I would play every day. And Josh being like, I made it really hard for him to come out on top, and for him to do this and get this run, this 2407. I have like an undying respect for Josh to do that, because he pushed himself to the absolute breaking point.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said that he was like thinking about hanging it up, and then he got like a 2407. So nuts. Can you hear me? Okay, your phone did the thing again. The phone did the thing. Hang on. Hold on. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Wait, where did I cut out?
Because he pushed himself to the absolute breaking point.
Yeah. And it made me, after that run happened, it made me realize that if anyone wants to dethrone this guy, they have a fight in front of them that they don't even comprehend how challenging it's going to be. that like they don't even people will see Josh play this game on Twitch, and it's like, oh, it's just like it's cool to look at. Like he just like the game looks fun and like flowy and good. There's like people will see him do all this stuff on Twitch, and they'll be like, oh, I want to do that too. Like, so I've seen like people will be like, oh, I'm gonna beat Josh's time after they see him like play, and it's like they don't even know. They can't even. They're not even at the level where they even can understand how good he is at this game. It's ridiculous. It's like I've almost like never seen this. like his level of his skill level at this game is so far up there. No, like I've seen this before where people will be like, oh, I'm gonna beat your record. Like they'll comment on Josh's stuff like, oh, I'm gonna beat your record, right?
Yeah.
And then they start like playing like this is especially with any percent now. They'll like start messing around in Fire Canyon, and they have reached the foothills of this mountain that they can't even see the top of. And they don't understand. Like they don't understand. They get scared by the height of the mountain, and they realize how small, like how hard it's going to be, and they just like, and they just turn around. Like if anyone, yeah, like it's like I said earlier, if anyone wants to beat him and like truly dethrone him and become the best there is, like I do think there is someone in this community who can do it. If they really put in the time, but they're gonna have to. It's that would be something to see. That would be really something to see.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention before we kill the bots?
I don't think so. I think that is everything. Thank you for doing this.
Hey, listen, I'm just happy to be here.
Thanks to this whole team for doing this for this game. It means a lot. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Jazz, and I'm gonna go ahead and send Craig home. Hang on. Be gone, Craig.